Silence is necessary because, well, firstly, we live in a world which worships noise, and so there is something to be learnt from it. You know, we know that the Bible tells us that God is so often is in the still, quiet voice, and so we often berate God, I think, for not, we can't hear you, God, where are you? As we sort of surround ourselves by as much noise as possible. So how can we make it as hard as possible for God to be heard? And then we get to blame Him when we can't hear Him. So silence is this ability to, it's around humility, I think. The tongue is the ultimate instrument of the ego. And so if you want to actually not pretend to be God, but actually know your place, be humble, be a creature of God, receive and listen, I think stilling one's tongue and then just being present with yourself and with God and with everything around you, very difficult. But, oh my goodness, life-changing. One of the issues with silence, I think, is that everyone says, oh gosh, you're going on a silent retreat. I just love to talk. I couldn't imagine doing it. I'm always like, that's the least of your problems. The problem is what you're left with when you're silent. Yourself. And most people are very uncomfortable with themselves. And so that's something that happens is you're confronted with who you are and you really ask the deep question, where is God at work in my life? Does God like me? I don't like myself. Does God like me? Does God like me when I'm not doing stuff? Not saying stuff, not performing. The other thing that happens in silence is you can't make people laugh. You can't sound intelligent. You can't be powerful. There's a whole lot of things that are taken away from you in terms of how you behave in a group. It's very good thing to go through is experiencing that. And if you push through, here's the thing, it all sounds bad, it's not. When you push through, you discover that God meets you and says in a very quiet voice, says, I just love you for who you are. You don't need to do all this stuff. So it's profoundly painful for a lot of people, not everyone, but it's also profoundly healing. And I mean in a way, in a mystical way, in a way that many people haven't been able to put words on. And that's why it happens in silence. God seems to do something that escapes us in words and silence.